What's poppin', yo? It's your boys, the Bold Man Wanderer, back in town again for another video. And what we're going to watch today, we're going to watch this guy, James O'Brien. Yeah, if you don't know, LBC radio station, James O'Brien, highly left wing, like beyond left wing. I mean, he is like Labour. Far left. He's like a Corbyn, you know what I mean? Jeremy Corbyn, maybe. Ooh, I don't know. Just the thought of it. I generally try and avoid these people. I haven't watched James O'Brien for a long time. I do like watching like some of his videos where the right wing callers do call in, and then they give him a mouthful. He gives them a mouthful. It can be quite funny, but. Let's see. We got an interesting topic. It's I'm devastated. Caller tells James O'Brien as youth unemployment hits 11-year high. So just gonna do that. What youth? What is, if I could spell, what is youth unemployment rate UK? Office for National Statistics. Wow, this is quite a cool chart. So, Labour market statistics, time series, youth unemployment. So along the bottom here, you've got the time, of course, the year. So we're sneaking up to 16.2%. But if you go back to 2011, that was 22%. So 2011, guess what time I was trying to get a job? Yes, it was then. So, well, I would have started uni, to be fair. So I did find a job, so I wouldn't have been like actually unemployed until about, I finished uni about 2014. So I found a job fairly easy after uni. So, I mean, there's a lot of people complaining, but we're at 16.2%, which isn't even the worst it's been. But I know how hard it is, and I'm not even gonna like say like this person's views aren't important, but compared to 2011, you can't even talk, love. You know what I mean? Let's try to find something else. Unemployment UK. I just want general unemployment. Most organized YouTubers might be already have this like prepared. Electoral statistics. Honestly, I don't really use this website, so what the hell? I don't have time for this. You know what I mean? What is unemployment rate UK? 5.2%. So yeah, youth is significantly higher than like general population. Because they're less experienced, they don't know what they want. They want something more than what they can actually get. You know what I mean? People, when they're adults, they just find something they can do. And it's not going to be a dream, is it? It ain't the dream, folks.
I'm reading a message that I'm just going to double check with Eleanor whether I should read it out or not, because you can probably guess what it's about, but it is about
youth unemployment. Gosh, this guy, James, makes me skin crawl. And it's his policies, as far as I'm concerned, the sort of thing that he actually advocates that contributes towards youth unemployment. For example, increased in migrants, and I'm not talking about like your illegal migrants because they ain't gonna be working, not in like decent jobs anyway. But I'm talking about like legal migrants, like Europeans, like I don't know. The way I see it, like we should be English first, like English people first, but that view is kind of like long gone. Not just because like we're basically a part of Europe, even though we had Brexit. With just the amount of Europeans that we've got who are just working in like normal jobs that any British person can do.
Despair, and how quickly you were. How do we stop the despair? If you are a young person who wants to engage with the world, but the world doesn't want your engagement. And I mean, listen, of course you can claim, I'm not going to get cross with you, Sarah, or anybody else who's suggesting that people have been sold unrealistic expectations with regard to degrees. 1 in 10 of the people that we're talking about are
Graduates. 1 in 10 are graduates. So they're the smarter ones, right? In theory. What is going on? What am I doing? Co-pilot. Doing a job in the UK, a British citizen could do. I wonder what Copilot says for this. Like, I'm there's no official statistic. Total workers in the UK, 34.3 million in work in 2026. That doesn't seem right at all. 34.3. I guess maybe with all the retired people and the children, and yeah, okay, that does make sense. The Office for National Statistic, yeah, it just doesn't say, but I think it's a lot. That's all I can say.
graduates. 1 in 10 are graduates. Okay, so it may be relevant, but it's relevant to 10% of the people that we're talking about. And in some ways, forgive me, in some ways their plight will be worse because they have got debt and they've had, and they've had, promises made and expectations enhanced of reward for effort in a way, which should be the simplest thing of all, but it's gone.
It is so tough. I'm 23. I'm a graduate. I did a Bachelor's of Science and a Master's of Science. I studied 5 years for a job that I was promised I was going to get.
And it's not all migrants. I'm not going to say that is like the be-all and end-all, but it does annoy me. It does annoy me when I'm struggling to find a job and then you go to interview at some place and then there's like a load of foreign nationals there and you're just like, God. And then they still don't give you the job. Ugh. But yeah, it's a matter of creating jobs and the government stifling that by just like taxing people to hell and creating too much legislation.
And I have been working for minimum wage for the last 6 months as a carer.
Okay.
And it's an important job to do, obviously, but I've studied 5 years
Yes,
to do.
She does have a job, so what's she complaining about? She's complaining that she wants a better job because I was a carer and it is tough. 100%. I did 7 months as a carer in like a very difficult place where there was violence and like spitting and like personal care, obviously. It was just very, very difficult and not anywhere that I would have wanted to stay.
Something that, and not a single person from my entire class of 30 people has gotten the job that we were told we were going to get, and the rest of us are, just trying to make other plans.
Who's told them they're going to get a job? That's the thing. You think you're going to get a job. I don't think anyone explicitly said, you're going to get a job after this. You do. They do target, like, a certain job, but yeah, it just doesn't exist, folks.
And it was so difficult. By the time you paid your bills and your rent, like you were saying, you've got nothing left. It's just everything is so expensive, and every single time you buy something, it's a little bit smaller than it was last.
She wants a better paying job, right? How much money do you have left over with a minimum wage job after bills, UK? So, estimated £1,780 per month. You're left with 100 to 400. Blimey, now, if you got 400, you are doing well. Annual take home 21,000. It's not a lot. Rent outside of London 650. Yeah, flats I've been looking at, like small flats, like very basic. It's about 600, 650. So it depends what food you're getting. Like high quality food, I'm estimating I'll be 250. I'll be looking at 250 for food. Yeah, all other bills, total bills. Living outside of London, cheaper area. So you need to be in a cheaper area, wherever the hell that is. I do not know. So I'm gonna write that one off, to be honest. Higher rent, £330. I think this is being generous, to be honest.
Last time you bought it. And, I've stopped making plans. Concerts are not a thing, like you were saying. You don't have the money for it. I've given up hope, and you just sort of take it day by day because that's all you can do.
And you are technically not part of the cohort that's looking for work but not in work. You're looking for work while in work. So that's 729,000 people plus everybody in your boat.
Exactly. And, I apply every single day. I'm applying for jobs. I trained as a physician associate, and that...
She hates her job. She hates it. At least she's getting money. That's what some people I work with, like, inspired me in the way, like, the job absolutely sucks, but they just turn up. They don't care. They're just money. Forget everything else. Doesn't matter if the job sucks. Give me that money.
It's got its own set of complications, but I'm looking for any job that I can possibly get that'll give me a career and not just part-time 0 hours work. It's so hard to get your foot in the door. I'm lucky if I get a rejection email nowadays.
How many are you sending out, would you say?
In the last year, I've probably sent over 100 applications to all sorts of different jobs. The majority do not bother replying. Sometimes you get a rejection, and that's it.
I tell you, one of the marks of how sad and bad things are is the feeling you get when you actually get a rejection. Oh, good, someone's acknowledged my existence, even though they're rejecting me.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, that's lucky. I actually get to know what happened with that application.
I mean, the world is a very, very different place from when I was your age, but I do actually remember that. It was curious. But the 30 people in your cohort, how many and you mentioned none of them have got the jobs that they thought they were going to get.
None of them have gotten jobs. Some of them went back home to live with their parents. That wasn't an option for me. So I'm just sort of...
It's all a big waste of time. Literally a waste of time. Everyone knows it these days, but people are still sending their kids to uni.
Trying to make,
And this is the crux for me. This is the crux of it, and I have to be careful not to fall back into trying to solve everything with one caller, with one experience. But the people who've gone back to live with their parents, when they do the sums that you do, they conclude it's not worth going out to do a job as a carer because my life is not going to...
I don't know what he's on about here. Like, if you're working If you're living at home with your parents and you got a full-time job, you're just going to be stacking cash.
Improve in any measurable way,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I'm going to be still living the life that I'm living. So why would I do the work, the paid work?
Yeah, exactly. And the amount of people who've told me, like from the older generation, grandparents, that sort of thing, you just need to go and sell yourself, put yourself out there. And I respond with, I have tried literally everything.
She's getting advice from boomers and grandparents that just have no idea about like the modern day situation of like how companies, they might even give it, like she said, 0-hour contract. You might get a job, but it's 0-hour contract. It's just dire. You just can't live off that. Like back in their day, they'd get a job you could live off, like no problem.
I have driven to places and tried to hand them a CV. They won't take it. They say apply online. I have phoned everybody. I've emailed everybody I know. I've networked. My CV is full of charity work and volunteering. I have incredible experience working with incredible people, and it doesn't get you anywhere because you're filling an online application. They can't see who you are online.
And AI is going to make everything worse, not only in the
Exactly.
selection process, but also in the case of some jobs, replacing humans.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I'm so sorry for what you're going through, and I'm not going to patronise you by wanging on about how bright and bubbly you sound or any nonsense like that. But I do wonder whether or not you've got a kind of escape route, whether you think of going somewhere else, or I mean, because that's the worst thing of all. I think is.
There is an escape route to leave the UK, right? Specifically teaching jobs. So, TES is a good one, isn't it? So, look, if you speak English, you can get out of here. So, English language, Papua New Guinea. What the hell? You get houses and everything in these jobs. Like furnished housing, annual leave, utilities, international school. Port Moresby is a leading educational institution in Papua New Guinea. Wow. I've never wanted to go to Papua New Guinea, but I'm tempted right now. So this position is for head of department English and languages. Ooh, not a bad looking job there. Let's just go for the basic one. I don't want head of department. English teacher. Bahamas. You're kidding me. Look at this. $38,670 to live in the Bahamas. What the hell? And we're here in England struggling, like trying to like make a living. And the cost of living out there is going to be insanely cheaper. Oh, salary is in BSD. So, yeah, it's probably not quite as good as it looks, but it's still probably better. Oh no, I think it is $38,000, but it'll be in BSD. Okay. Gosh, Hong Kong, hell yeah, I'd live in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is absolutely stunning. I got a video in Hong Kong. So, what we got here? Full times, fixed time. Ooh, have a detailed knowledge of national curriculum. Blah, blah, blah. Where's the pay around here? I missed it. Might be something you need to speak to him about, but I would apply for that. It's just the sad thing is that you want to live in England. Like, yes, you could leave the country and go make something out of yourself, but I want to live in England. Like, but you just can't.
Running out of options.
I think it is so sad because if you'd asked me that question 2 years ago, I would have given you a list of so many things
Right.
that I was actually really excited for. Sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional, but
Don't
I was
worry.
so excited
Of
for
course.
my life to start. And I
Oh,
feel like
Irene.
I've been waiting for that for years, and it's just, I feel like I'm going backwards every single time I take a step forwards. I have looked overseas, but unfortunately, you need to have quite a few years of experience to work as a physician associate overseas.
Right.
And I actually can't even afford a plane ticket at the moment, so it wouldn't really be an option. You know, I don't have too much support from people around me. I've got a very loving family, but not financially viable, if that sort of makes sense.
And I think they don't quite get it either. They don't quite understand why
Yeah.
you're in limbo. They think somehow, somewhere, it must be partly your fault.
Yeah, well, my mum was quite good with it, but yeah, my grandparents don't get it either.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's just, yeah.
They just don't get it. There's no empathy, there's no sympathy. Like, you're out there struggling. Like, you're working shite jobs. And then your family have no understanding and couldn't give a shit and tell you you're not working hard enough. Damn. It's a cruel, cruel world out there.
People just think you're not trying hard enough when I've tried so hard, I've got nothing left.
And the numbers support you. There's no earthly way so many people would be in the same or similar situations if it was down to each and every one of those 729,000 individuals plus everybody in your position doing. And I don't think you need to apologise for distinguishing between a job and a career. It's why we study. It's what we expect and hope for when we put in the hard yards in the lecture theatres and the classrooms. It just opens new doors. And the doors are locked. And I think for Erin's generation, quite possibly disappearing forever.
Why is it dropping this advert? I don't want to see this
Tomorrow starts tonight. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
I am the same boy, and I like to do things fast.
It is just tough, man. It is tough out there. And they say that net migration has shrunk as well. So less people are coming in, so they say. And it may be because people are just leaving. .4% of the population leaves the UK each year for work-related reasons. 1 in 250. Doesn't sound like a lot. But that's 517,000 people per year.
He's gone and taken his CVs in places, and they're all going, you need to go onto the website, so they won't take those. He's tried friends of family, and he's tried all sorts, and he's constantly looking and everything. And then I've got a 19-year-old who went to college, got qualifications in the trades. He did get a job for a short time, which was in joinery, which is what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then the storm hit, the big storm that we had a few months ago hit, and the work stopped. And because it was a zero contract thing,
0 hours. It's just a waste of time. 0 hours. You got to find something else.
he didn't get any work after that, and he's been looking ever since. He's worked at dog kennels temporarily on temporary jobs. He's done all sorts of that, and the amount, I can just see it seeping out their confidence, both of them. It's just heartbreaking to me, but at the same time, you know, it's kind of like we need them to help us with money because obviously cost of living, so they're at home, and we kind of need a little bit of help with that. And they're one job because he was suffering mental breakdown, and then got a job.
Mental health, obviously. I've been there. That's one of the worst things. You want a job. You feel like you can do a job. You want someone to help you when you're that age to like build your career up. You're supposed to get a career. You're supposed to progress. You're supposed to make money. Everything's insanely expensive. And then you get nothing. no career, no money, no assistance. A crumbling country, flooding immigration, increasing crime. Oh, gosh. You know, I haven't got anything bad to say about James O'Brien for this episode, but maybe one day I'll find some funny stuff to watch. I'm going to leave it there, people, you people, right? I'm going to leave it there, and hopefully you've enjoyed watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Bye.